Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99 podcast. We've got 99 cards because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I am joined today with Slothy. Slothy, how is it going today?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Thanks. How about yourself?
I am doing great. I've been doing just a ton of content on the side. There should be a lot of really cool stuff up on the YouTube. If you haven't already seen it, Brian and I did a box opening on Friday. We opened a box of New Capenna, a set booster, and then a draft booster of Dominaria United. Really good polls, really fun conversation. Brian and I had some drinks and just talked Magic stuff. It was a really good time. That's up on YouTube. And then we recorded some games yesterday. So those will be going up on YouTube as well, just to test out our new cameras. It's a work in progress. We're going to polish it up. It's going to look nicer. So
yeah.
But no, I've been really excited with the new stuff that, like I said, we're going to be coming out more games, more fun stuff. So it's been a good week. Definitely been a fun time. I should have cracked my drink before the episode started, so everyone don't mind that. But yeah, the point of today's deck is I wanted to talk about one of my favorite commanders that just recently came out of Dominaria. I loved all of Dominaria. I keep saying that it was a really good time.
Yeah.
And there was so many good legendary creatures from it. But one in particular, it just... I think it's one of the most fun commanders that I have seen printed this year because it's so easy to build. It's just today we're talking Greensleeves. Obviously, you've seen the episode title. But yeah, Greensleeves is just very cool in the lore. We covered the lore before, as I mentioned. But Greensleeves just does a lot on a card. Too much. Greensleeves Maro-Sorcerer is 3 green for a legendary elemental. It's star power. It has protection from planeswalkers and wizards. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And from anyone who's ever seen a Multani deck or played against one, you know that can get out of hand pretty quickly.
Yep.
Right? So yeah, your commander being so enormous is a problem. But Greensleeves has a fun ability stapled onto it. You're already being rewarded for having a lot of lands out. But you have, whenever a land enters under your control, you create a 3/3 green Badger token. And this deck is about becoming the Lord of Badgers. So first and foremost, the hardest part about this deck is going to be just finding Badger tokens. You need a lot of Badger tokens for this deck.
Yeah.
I've got 37 lands in this deck. That's way higher than I normally do. But I find that I always need more and more. I just need more and more lands with Greensleeves. It's such a fun commander. The artwork is just simply beautiful artwork. It's so nicely drawn. This is probably my favorite card from the set. I loved it. I love landfall, as I say every episode. And yeah, it's just a silly commander. The fact that you just Badger Storm everyone. There's definitely different ways to play this. Like you could go the coat of arms route or that's not what I did. This is just landfall. This is just hyper ramp. Go through your deck and get all the lands in your deck out. And let me tell you, you will get a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. This is probably also one of my favorite commanders from this set, too. I love it. Everything about it.
Oh, yeah. Greensleeves is just awesome. You could put also more Voltron-esque. Like again, Greensleeves is incentivized by ramps. So running equipments in a deck like this, like you're going to have the land to constantly equip Greensleeves. So there's no right or wrong way to build it, but just the way I went. I've played this deck like a multitude of times. It's just great. It makes me laugh every time because I play with like a bunch of people who play a lot of things like Smothering Tides and Rhystic Studies and Mystic Remoras, and they to have fun with language. They badger me all the time to. So do you want to pay the one? Do you want to pay the one? So now I'm badgering them back. It's
there's one.
Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, just on the line of the equipment, I'm surprised that with one that's not in here.
What, any protection or any equipment?
I'm thinking Sword of the Animist.
Yeah, Sword of the Animist would be great in this deck. There's so much ramp. So I'm going to go over my not forests. The deck runs 29 forests. We run a Blighted Woodland because that's going to get us 3 ETBs.
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Bonder's Enclave, which taps for colorless, 3 mana. You draw a card, activated only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which, trust me, you will. Evolving Wilds for, again, our double up. Field of Ruin to blow up people's lands because sometimes you gotta run it. And also it gives us another ETB. We've got Guildless Commons, so we can sit there and bounce because we run out of lands very quickly in this deck.
Yeah.
Myriad Landscape, again, for the same reason. We have a Terramorphic Expanse for the same reason as well. Just extra, it enters and then goes and fetches us lands. But we also specifically have a Rogue's Passage. You can't run a deck like this, in my opinion, without a Rogue's Passage. When your commander, there's such a chance of it being so big. Like I said, I have 29 forests in the deck, and often I can fetch all of the forests in my library. This deck is defeated very hard by an opposition agent.
Yeah, I really like the land base in this one. I think it's nice and budget as well.
Yeah, this deck actually does come in really, really cheap. Like some of the prices that populated, I think, are some of the Warhammer 40k stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a little cheaper than it actually, but even still, it sits around 347 as of this list.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and if you simply don't run one of my enchantments, that's like 60 of the dollars alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can thin this one down pretty good. I'll jump right into just our Planeswalker because it's no shock what this Planeswalker is going to be. It's Nissa Who Shakes the World. We've got 3 double green. Legendary Planeswalker Nissa starts at 5 loyalty. Whenever you tap a forest, you add an additional forest, like an additional green mana. That matters a lot in a 29 forest deck.
Yeah.
+1, you put 3 1/1 counters on up to one target non-creature land you control. On tap, it becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. No one really ever cares about that. It's basically just a tap and get it up, but you want to alt it. And it's you get an emblem with lands you control, have indestructible, search library for any number of forest cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And that's a very big problem if I can go, let's even say I fetch 10. That's 30 power of Badgers to the field. 3/3 Badgers on ETB is a lot. It's very, very powerful Badgers.
Yeah, and that's also +10 to Greensleeves as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess 40 power to the battlefield.
Nasty.
And that's if you only fetch 10. Yeah, it's pretty big. It's pretty large. We'll go into our enchantments next. They're pretty, again, pretty straightforward for a land base. You can really easily change this. You can also protect Greensleeves. I play hyper aggression all the time. You really should run like things like like Swiftfoot boots, those kind of things. Sorry, my mind went blank. Yeah, like the Swiftfoot boots, any of those, they protect your commander. They're important. Whisper Silk Cloak so that your commander can bash people in the face and also be protected. I just generally have so much mana that it's not really worth killing Greensleeves because it's just going to come back out and all you've done is anger the Badger Storm.
Yeah, all you're going to do is put a target right on your back for it.
Yeah, exactly. The Badgers are a problem. We start off enchantments. We got Burgeoning. Whenever an opponent plays a land, you can put a land from your hand on the battlefield. That ramps you really quick early game, but we draw a lot in this deck. So
yeah. Next up, you got Druid class, 1 and a green. This is a class, so whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Level 2 is you may play an additional land on each of your turns, and level 3, when this card becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature and has this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, and it's still a land.
Yeah, so you basically animate another Greensleeves, mini Greensleeves.
Yeah.
But without protection for Planeswalkers and Wizards, which is such a weird protection to have. It makes sense lore-wise, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question, if there was a reason lore-wise.
Yeah, because Greensleeves basically can't be got.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have Elemental Bond, which is going to be an MVP card in a deck like this. It's 2 and a green. Whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters under your control, draw a card. That turns every landfall into a free draw.
Free draw.
Yeah, and it also is a great way to deck yourself. Definitely keep in mind that you have this on the field. I've run out of cards real fast in this list.
Yeah. Then we've got Exploration, 1 green. You may play an additional land on each of your turns.
Yeah.
Always solid in the landfall deck.
This is when I was saying we draw a lot. This is one of the reasons. Yeah, it's great or good. 2 double green. You sack a creature, draw cards equal to its power, then discard 3 cards. You have a commander who's just enormous. Greensleeves gets out of control, and again, the mana cost doesn't really matter that much. Being able to throw Greensleeves away when you have 25 lands out means you're drawing 25, discarding 3, and you still have so much mana to replay it. So Greensleeves costing 9 or 11 mana isn't going to slow this deck down in the slightest.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, and I just like Greater Goods a lot for a lot for the draw it enables.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we got Into the Wilds, 3 and a green. Look, or at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you can put it onto the battlefield.
That, yeah, works a lot.
Yeah.
We've got 37 lands, so we've got a pretty high % chance we'll hit something.
Yeah, that's more than 1 in 3 chance.
Yeah. We have Colony Heart Expedition as well, which is, I just love this landfall enchantment. It's 1 and a green. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you can put a quest counter on it, remove 3 quest counters from it, you search your library for 2 basics, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then you shuffle.
Yeah. Next up is the $6 card that was mentioned earlier. It's Parallel Lives. 3 and a green. If an effect would put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many tokens onto the battlefield instead.
Yeah, literally, if you cut just Parallel Lives, Burgeoning, and Exploration out of this deck, you're at around a $200 deck without any severe changes to it. It is pretty easy. Yeah,
the enchantment section here is listed at 126.
Yeah, so it's more than a third of the deck kind of thing.
Yeah, more than a third of the deck, but if you cut those cards, the most expensive one's really like a $5 card in the enchantment section.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty low one. Parallel Lives really does put in work if you have one sitting around or can afford one. The deck does make a lot of Badgers, and you are becoming the Badger Lord, so I get it.
Yeah.
And then we've got just the best way to deal with flying when you have a ton of mana. It's 6 double green for Sandworm Convergence. Creatures with flying can attack you or planeswalkers you control. And at the beginning of your end step, you create a 5/5 green worm. That's really good in Beru as well, by the way. I've been really having fun with that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah.
Let's rip these artifacts quickly.
Sure. First artifact we've got is Seer's Sundial. 4 mana. It's got landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2, and if you do, draw a card.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, solid. You're going to have the mana.
Yeah, we've got also Soul Ring, because you should put Soul Ring in pretty much every deck.
Yeah.
I don't need to spend too much time on that one.
No.
Yeah, let's we've got a few instants. We'll go instance creatures and then instance sorceries and creatures. So we start off, we've got Beast Within. It's just great removal. 2 and a green for instant. You destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast. You need to run it pretty much in mono green like that. It's just so good.
Yeah. Then we've got Harrow, 2 and a green. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sack a land. Search library for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, and then shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
A lot of people didn't like this next card. I love this card. It's Jaheira's Respite. It's 4 and a green. You search the library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Put those cards on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, and prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. In a lot of decks, I already think this is pretty good. It's good ramp. But if you have somebody who tries to aggro you out or even board wipes you, and then you only were able to play Greensleeves out again or something, having Jaheira's Respite, if somebody tries to attack you with like 10 creatures, again, is going to just be a problem. The fact that you have now 40 power on board of Revenge is great. I really like Jaheira's Respite in a deck like this.
Yeah, that's crazy that people don't like this card.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think this one's awesome.
Yeah, in a worst case, it's still just just an expensive fog, but it does really ramp you against if you play like more aggro pods or decks. Like there's a lot of decks that I would like to even if 5 creatures attack me, that's not uncommon in a game of Commander. So prevent all combat damage, get 5 lands is a big deal.
Yeah, for 5 mana.
Yeah, exactly. Add instant speed. I love it.
Yeah, instant speed too. I love that card. But next up, we got Kamal's Will, 3 and a green. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast it, you may choose both. Until end of turn, any number of target lands you control become 1/1 elemental creatures with vigilance, indestructible, and haste. They're still lands. And choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to that creature.
The fight ability is going to blow basically any creature off the board.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's insane.
That one's good, but you have a lot of lands, and it is really funny to see people just think, okay, well, he's got a lot of lands, but what is he going to do with them? And then you just overrun them with, I've got 37 lands. That's nearly enough to kill someone with Kamal's Will alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. We also have Natural Connection, another instant that's getting us basics. It's 2 and a green. Search the library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle.
Yeah. Then we've got Return to the Wild Speaker, 4 and a green. Choose one, draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. It's a great card.
Yeah, this card really, really does a lot in this deck. You make your Badger Army 6/6, which is crazy, or you, like I said, you end up drawing 15 cards.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, just looking through this, you do not have many humans, so if you had to kill somebody with it, it's not difficult.
No, yeah, the deck is mostly going to be Badgers and other tokens. It's a lot of tokens. I really need to put in like an order for just thousands of tokens and sleeve them up, but I just don't have the time. Tokens are very nicely represented if you have the tokens to play. Really adds a little bit of class to your playmat, and I just don't. I litter mine with dice and have to try and explain to everyone what each dice is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was a better person. We've got Roiling Regrowth as well, another basically Harrow. It's 2 and a green. Sack a land, you search your library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then you shuffle. So not much response. I'm not really responding. I'm just aggroing people with Badgers. Like I said, you and me build very differently.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
This is all Badger Storm. There's no time for response. The responses are Badgers.
Yeah, you don't run like spell removal or creature removal. You just run player removal, which I think is better.
Exactly. Just run Badgers. Just outright Badgers. So we go into the sorcerers for the deck. And we got 26 of them. We got a lot of slow play.
Yeah, the first sorcery here is Animus Awakening, X and a green. Reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all land cards from among them on the battlefield tap. The rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. And it's got spell mastery, so if there are 2 or more instants and or sorceries in your graveyard, untap those lands. Yeah. Pretty good.
You'll definitely have that spell mastery.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. We also have Balik Ged Recovery. I should have added that as a land as well. So it's 2 and a green. You return target card from your graveyard to your hand, or it just is another land to enter tapped.
Yeah.
Solid.
Next up is Boundless Realms, 6 and a green. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of lands you control. Put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library.
Again, massively problematic with Greensleeves.
Yeah, that's say it's early as possible. That's still 5 lands that you're getting out.
Yeah, like if I have a Soul Ring out. Yeah. The other thing too is that sure, you can kill Greensleeves while this resolves, but that doesn't change that I'm going to fetch however many lands I have. And I'm probably just going to replay Greensleeves angrier than ever. Yeah, just going to replay it and then come after who remove her. It's so fun. It's so fun to just I'll swing 80 Badgers at you. I'm very excited to play against this deck. It makes a lot. I got a lot of dice for it. Circuitous Roots, our next one. We've got 3 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands and or gates. Put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. We're not running any gates. We're just running basics. Yeah. Then is Collective Voyage, a single green. Join forces, starting with you. Each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches his or her library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Puts them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffles their library. Yeah, I love this card. This is one that I don't see too often. I play a really, really weird meta. You'll see one of the games we recorded this weekend, it's probably going to be the first one to go up. It'll be, I played Glunch, a group hug deck. I'm pretty sure we did an episode on it. Yes, we did. Yeah, and I love that deck. And you can see how silly some of these stupid group hug cards get. Because they get out of control. And if you know how to politics your way around it and your table knows that they can trust you with good deals, then you can have a really fun time with cards like this. Because this, if nothing else, can save the night for some people, right? Like a Collective Voyage. One of the games we recorded, I was playing 3-color Zur, didn't hit a blue land the whole game. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, let me tell you, 3-color New Zur is not very good if you can't play New Zur. Then I'm just playing a bunch of garbage enchantments that never become creatures. It was pretty not good. It was pretty rough. That game will go up too, so everyone could see what it's like when I face defeat. Yeah, we've also got Cultivate. This is not the artwork. If you're looking at the list, it's not the Tyrannid artwork in my Greensleeves deck. I wish it was, because this is really cool art. It's 2 and a green. You search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Love Cultivate. I put it in every green deck. Like I said, I'm never going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah. Then we've got Explosive Vegetation, 3 and a green. Search library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle.
Yeah. Harvest Season. I really, really like this one. It's 2 and a green. It's a sorcery. You search for X basic lands, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control. You put them onto the battlefield tapped, then you shuffle. So you have a lot of creatures a lot of time. Again, I pretty much every time I've played this have taken every land out of deck.
Yeah.
It's been a problem.
Then we've got Hour of Promise, 4 and a green. Search library for 2 land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. Then if you control 3 or more deserts, create 2 black zombie creature tokens.
Really good for the new Hazazon too.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally speaking, in this deck, you're going to go and fetch your bounce land, your Guildless Common, so you can just slap it in and out, playing 3 or 4 lands a turn, making 4 badgers a turn, and just constantly getting it back.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you want Rogue's Passage, because obviously you want to crush the souls of your enemies. Right? We've got Hunting Wilds, 3 and a green. It's got Kicker for 3 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 forests, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. If it's kicked, you untap all forests, put on the battlefield this way. They become 3/3 green creatures with haste that are still lands.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely not too bad.
Then we've got Journey of Discovery, 2 and a green. You can choose one, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library, or you may play up to 2 additional lands this turn. And it's got Entwine for 2 and a green, so you can choose both if you pay its Entwine cost.
Yeah, usually you see that for the ramp, but again, if you're holding your bounce land, the 2 additional lands really does do a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have Kodama's Reach. I know everyone listening is getting tired of it. I get it. I like to put forests into play. Kodama's Reach. We got 2 and a green. It's a sorcery, an arcane one if that ever matters. If anyone's playing, everyone always forgets that. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand, then shuffle. Just cultivate point 2.0.
Yeah. Then we've got Nature's Lore, 1 and a green. Search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle.
Yeah. Nissa's Pilgrimage, you'll never guess what this one does. 2 and a green, search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put one onto the battlefield tap, the rest into your hand, then shuffle. And Spellmaster, if there's 2 or more in your graveyard, instant or sorcery, search your library for up to 3 basic forests instead of 2, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I quite like this next card. Especially in a deck like this. It's Overrun.
Badgers, yeah.
2 in triple green, and this one does not put forests into play. However, it gives all your creatures +3/+3 and trample until end of turn.
Yeah, which is a game
phenomenal. It's great in a deck like this.
Again, the fun thing is sure, you can counter my Overrun, but I'm still gonna overrun you with Badgers. That's the problem.
I've still got enough power to kill you.
The other thing is we haven't even got into creatures. This is just with 1 creature. And everyone knows how green landfall decks, everyone's got a good guess of what's coming up in the creature section.
Mm-hmm.
You all know. We also have Rampant Growth, which, again, shockingly, is a 1 and a green. Search the library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle.
Next up, we got Reshape the Earth, 6 and triple green. This one searches your library for up to 10 land cards, puts them onto the battlefield tapped, and then you shuffle your library.
Yeah, quick disclaimer in the middle of the episode. If you don't like to pick your deck up and shuffle, don't build this deck. You're gonna spend more time in this deck than anywhere else. It's basically you just play with your deck in your hand. Root Awakening is the next one on our list. It's 4 and a green. It has choose one. You untap all lands you control, which is immense in a deck like this. It's huge. Or until end of turn, lands you control become 2/2 creatures that are still lands. And it also has Entwine. So again, even if people are just wrecking house on your creatures, you've got so many lands that you can just wipe someone off the board with lands.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a fun way to kill people.
Yeah. So next one is Seek the Horizon, 3 and a green. Search the library for 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle. I quite like the art on this one, actually.
Yeah, it's really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have Skyshroud Claim, believe it or not. 3 and a green. It's going to search your library for 2 forests, put them onto the battlefield, and shuffle. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Next up, we've got Summer Bloom. It is 1 and a green. You may play up to 3 additional lands this turn. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Sylvan Scrying. 1 in the green. Search your library for a land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. This is going to basically fetch you, again, like your bounce land. You could put better lands in here than I did, by the way. I know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make badgers. I get it. Again, this is for not Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead if you have a problem. But Sylvan Scrying is basically going to be to get the Rogue's Passage. You want to kill people.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we've got Terramorph, 3 in the green. Search library for basic land card, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle, and it's got Rebound.
I really like that more than Explosive Vegetation because it puts puts them in both untapped.
Yeah.
So, little slower, but you get them untapped. It's the same mana cost. I like it. We've got 3 visits, which shockingly will go and get you a forest card onto the battlefield for 2 mana. Again, you're gonna ramp. You're gonna get Greensleeves out significantly faster than everyone else.
You will have creatures.
Yeah,
because of Greensleeves, and you will like it.
Yeah, you will have badgers.
Next up, we've got Traverse the Outlands, 4 in the green. Search the library for X basic land cards, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle.
Yeah. It's pretty good. That one also gets pretty out of hand.
Yeah, I bet.
It's one of my favorite reprints that they got. And then this next one, I want you to take this next one because I don't think not many people have ever seen this card played. It's stupid.
Yeah, when I was first looking at this one, I was thinking that myself. It's Waiting in the Weeds, 1 double green. Each player counts the untapped forests he or she controls and puts that many 1/1 green cat creatures into play.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
I like that.
I run this in a lot of group hug decks now with Yavimaya.
Oh, yeah.
So now everyone gets cats for how many lands they have untapped.
Yeah, I really like that card. My dad's giving that to some of my token decks.
It's a cool one.
Yeah. That's from 6th edition?
Yeah, right. It's a weird one. It's such a cheap card, and like I said, Yavimaya really made it so much more playable for yourself, but also for just if you wanna gift the table cats, it's fun.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, so the reason that I got you to take that one is because I need to talk about this next one, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
It's Ancient Green Warden, Land Harmonicon. It's 4 double green for a 5/7 elemental with reach. Again, I say it every time we see this card. These are real good stats. Mm-hmm. You can play lands from your graveyard, which is going to let you replay your Terramorphics, your any of those things that you're fetching, dropping in for more landfall when you run out of land, because you will run out of land.
Yep.
And if a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Our commander alone benefits from this, but so does pretty much the rest of our creature section. There's a lot of things that care about landfall. And yeah, like Ancient Green Warden is an MVP monster in a deck like this.
Yeah, you've kind of, I think I mentioned last week that since I joined this podcast, I've started building a lot like landfall type decks, and you've turned me onto this card quite a lot, actually.
It really
so
puts work in, yeah.
Speaking of putting work in, next one is Avenger Zendikar, 5 double green for a 5/5 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 plant token for each land you control, and it's got landfall, so whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control.
Yeah, I told everyone they'd have a good idea of what's in this creature section.
Yeah.
This one, like I said, it's been, I like sometimes, our episodes sometimes run a little long. This one's probably going to be short because it's everything is like ramp and then landfall creatures. You guys get it. Everyone understands what's going on.
Yeah.
We've got Azusa because we're in landfall and you've got to. 2 and a green for a human monk. You can play 2 additional lands on your turn for a 1/2. That's all Azusa's good for, is just dumping more lands into play and creating more badgers.
Yeah. Then we've got Elvish Mystic, 1 green for a 1/1. Tap it for green.
Yeah. Endray's Forerunners as well, which is a great finisher. 5 triple green for a 7/7 bull with vigilance, trample, haste. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get 2/2 vigilance and trample until end of turn. So you can really, really badger storm people, badger blitz with the trample. And also you give your, I guess, like 35/35 commander trample, if that matters.
Yeah, trample and vigilance, so
yeah,
it is what it is, I guess.
It's a problem.
Next up, we got Halcyon, Emerald Archdruid, 3 and a green for 2/4 legendary elf druid. You can pay 1 until end of turn. target token you control becomes a green bear with base power and toughness 4/4 in addition to its other colors and types. And it's also got choose a background, but that doesn't matter in this deck.
In addition to its other colors and types, which means for 1 mana you behold the Badger Bears.
Badger Bears.
Yeah, it's fun. Or the Bear Cats. Or the Bear Plants. I love House, and it's such a stupid card, and you're making so many. I love everything about that card. I always have ever since I've seen it.
Yeah, I really like this one.
It's really fun to turn your tokens into bears, but I've always liked that they keep their other types.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just love saying, like, I will swing at you with 30 bear plants. It's, makes me very happy.
Could have the treasure bears.
Yeah, behold the treasure bears, yes. You want this next one here?
Sure. So this next one is Jaheira, Friend of the Forest, 2 and a green for legendary human elf druid. It's a 2/3. Tokens to control have tap to add green, and it's got choose a background.
Yeah, this deck probably should have like a mana sink or something in it. That'd probably really help.
Your mana sink is attacking everyone.
True. You could put Helix Pinnacle in this deck, and that would work pretty well. Or I don't know, anything else that's good. Put an Insect Queen in here. Maybe I'll put one in there. I build similar every time. We've got Llanowar Elves again, just really nice early mana ramp for 1 green, 1/1, add 1 mana. Elf Druid.
Yeah. Then we've got Lotus Cobra, 1 and a green for a 2/1 snake with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color.
This really, really does a lot of work in our deck. Because so much comes in tapped, and just getting that mana instantly is going to really matter. Like if we get a, what's the big one?
The big one?
The 10 mana one. 9 mana one. It gives us 10 mana.
Reshape the Earth.
Yeah, getting a Reshape the Earth off with something like this, then you still get all of those.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely puts in a lot of work. I like Lotus Cobra a lot, and if you have Land Harmonicon out, you make it's a lot. It's a lot. Cool cards.
You get a lot of mana.
Yeah, right. We have Molimo, Maro-Sorcerer. It's not that great of a card, but it's on theme, and I couldn't find a Multani. You should put Multani in place of this card, but if you don't have a Multani, like I didn't at the time, it's in deck. It's 4 triple green for a legendary creature, elemental, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control.
Yeah. Then we've got Rampaging Baloths, 2 double green for a 6/6 beast with trample. And landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. That's also going to get out of hand.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for sure.
Yeah.
We've got Renata called the Hunt. It's 2 and 2 green for a legendary enchantment creature demigod, star 3 power. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So it just makes your badgers bigger. You're getting a lot of creatures ETB, right? And it's not on cast, it's on enter, so.
Yeah.
This also makes Avenger of Zendikar's plants much scarier.
Yeah. And this makes this next card a lot scarier too.
Yeah, the next card is a real problem. You can't let this card. This is the most removal magnet card I've ever seen.
Yes, this card, like back when I played Standard, I played with this one, and it was insane. And that's Scoot Swarm. 2 and a green for a 1/1 insect with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead.
Scoot Swarm gets out of control. It just doubles itself faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm just trying to look. On the site.
You are a monster.
I'm wondering why that's $80 of my deck list over here is also the Unhinged Forests for some reason.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, why is my land section? Okay, so this is a much cheaper deck than I thought. We're good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's not getting included. Who knows? We also have Tireless Provisioner, which is just another really good card. Tireless Tracker is really good in this deck as well.
Yeah.
I just, again, didn't have an extra Tireless Tracker when I was building, and that's generally how I build, is out of my pile. But either or are going to slot really well. They both have great landfall abilities. Tireless Tracker's ability to give you things to draw is probably going to be a little better in this deck because you don't really need any of what's going on with this. But that being said, Tireless Provisioner is 2 and a green. It's an elf scout. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you get a food or treasure. And then it's a 3/2. So that's pretty good. You can gain a lot of life. Like foods are, you tap 2, sack it, you gain 3 life. Treasures, everyone knows what treasures do. Like,
yeah,
it's a card that is really going to put in a ton of work in a deck like this. But I'll talk about that after we're done our list here of these. So go ahead.
Yeah, next up we got Undergrowth Champion, 1 double green for a 2/2 elemental. If damage would be dealt to Undergrowth Champion while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a +1/+1 counter from Undergrowth Champion. And it's got landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Undergrowth Champion.
Yeah, it's a monster card. The prevent damage makes it such a good blocker too.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got Veteran Explorer for 1 green. It's a human soldier scout 1/1. When it dies, each player can search the library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield. Then each player who searched their library this way shuffles it. We are gonna, generally speaking, benefit a lot more from land than our opponents.
Yeah, definitely.
So, because for us with our commander out, that's Veteran Explorer dying and us getting 6 power where they get 2 basics. Again, I build a little group hug into some things, but group hug, group badgers, you get it.
Exactly. And this next one is actually a pretty good mana sink in this deck as well. It's Wolfbriar Elemental, 2 double green for a 4/4 elemental. It's got multi-kicker for green. And when Wolfbriar Elemental enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token for each time it was kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
Yeah, the nice thing about a deck like this is, like I said, it lets us rip through it really quick, because I don't need to spend the time on like a Cultivate and the Kodama's Reach for everyone to understand what it's doing in the deck and what my thought process was. This is green. This is some Oonga Boonga plays stuff. Some real caveman brain, like I'm going to smash people with badgers and get lands. Like there's pretty much only one game plan. The only thing you have to worry about is you need to kill anyone who is a Pillow Fort player. If you have someone that you know is going to be dropping like Pillow Fort, at least if you're playing my deck style, you have to kill the Pillow Fort player first, like someone who's going to be stacking up those enchantments so that you can't get through. You can pay to attack, but you don't want to. You wanna crush those people off, and then anyone who's playing like any blue players who are going to be able to like Cyclonic Rift you. You don't want to lose those badgers, especially late game, because by the time they're at 7 mana to Cyclonic Rift, you could have like 30 power of badgers out in a deck like this without that being like a big stretch, right? And you don't want to lose that. So your threat assessment is basically like what can wipe your board and what can stop you from attacking. If you've got something that can do either of those things, then those people, no matter how great their friendship are, no matter how slow their start to the game is, you got to just smash them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I really like this deck, though. This is...
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's really, really fun, and it plays really, really fast. I tend to durdle a lot with tokens because I just like to see how many tokens I can get.
Oh, yeah.
But the faster you wipe people out with the badgers, the better in this deck, because it's pretty linear. Like, you're getting lands, you're making badgers. There's not much to it.
Yeah.
You've got 7 instants. You're not really interacting too much.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got so much mana that you're going to generally play everything in your hand every turn anyways. So
yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
It's not even like you're going to be bluffing that you have a bunch of instants ready to go. It's like a lot of decks, the average token deck isn't going to be able to outpace this Greensleeves. Like the landfall and 3/3 from the command zone is just a super powerful ability.
Yeah, it's an absolutely insane card.
Yeah, your normal ramp is incentivizing you with creatures. Like it really does a lot of work. Even if we stripped every other creature out of the deck and ran how many creatures do I have? We've got 17 creatures. You can put 17 more instants and pieces of removal in here, and like your heroic interventions, your Autumn's Veil, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
Seed time, if people want to counter you, take an extra turn and again kill them.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Despite how linear this deck is, there are a number of ways that you could kind of go about it.
Yeah, I really like the other thing too is that you can, if you want, you can definitely like run really, really easily things like Kamal, like Fist of Krosa for overrun effects for your creatures, and to turn other people's lands into creatures as well, which is a really, really good threat against a board wipe. Like putting a Kamal in here really, really does deter people from like wiping your board, because then you just, in response, all Wrath of God, okay, well, I'll turn all your lands into creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's a great threat card. There's different ways you can go. I just, like I said, I just like to race to see how many Badger tokens I can get. A lot of the time, it's a lot. And sometimes, like, I'll make deals with myself where I'm just like, I'm not gonna swing until I have 20 Badgers. And that's pretty easy to get to.
Did you Sorry, I was just thinking, did you consider putting a Genesis Wave or something into this deck?
No, because I have 26 sorceries and 7 instants alone.
That's fair.
Yeah, so, and Gen Wave puts them into the grave if you miss.
Well,
I think it does, doesn't it?
put all cards that were revealed this way that weren't put onto the battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking for like getting like every single one of your lands out.
It's pretty good. Like, realistically, you should put more things that mana sink in. Like, there's some really, really good artifact mana sink. A Helix Pinnacle, any of the like the Theros gods, the green ones that have like those mana sinks in, those are going to be really, really good to, like, there's a lot, even Mana Rig, where you can pay the triple X and look at the top cards, put some into your hand. This deck has a ton of mana. A lot of times you've got way too much mana. You don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's, let me see what the internet says here. Best green mana sinks.
There's also things like Hydra Broodmaster.
You could also just run some protection and removal. That could also be an idea that you don't like need to do.
Yeah.
Oh, you can also Hurricane and kill the table. I always forget about that one.
You can also Squall Line.
Yeah. There's
which is an instant. But... Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like the one I was thinking about is Nikya. Or not Nikya. Yeah. It's the Nikya deck runs all of them. Like so things like Ant Queen, things like Arashi.
Yeah.
You could also run a Bane of Progress because we're running pretty much no artifacts and our enchantments won't matter by the time they die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of cool ways to do it. I just like to make silly badgers.
I really like this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. You really do get a lot. One of the ones that is probably the best is Polokranos to put in the deck. Just looking through that list of the sinks, the fact that you can like basically board wipe and run roughshod over the table if you have it. Yeah, I don't know. That's like I said, that's my deck. It's pretty simple. It's a nice quick one for us today. We're in, we're out. But yeah, no, Greensleeves has just been a blast to play every time. It's very simple. You've got a lot of mana. You can do pretty much anything you want with that mana. Triumph of the Horde is really funny. The Infected Badgers. Again, all of those are in different decks. They really need to reprint Triumph of the Hordes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I haven't looked at the 40k decks at all. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the Tyranid one. It would be weird for them to not include it in a Tyranid deck. With the Tyranid deck being like a Hive Mind kind of base deck.
Here, I got the list pulled up right in front of me here. Tyranid. Let's see. It is not in there.
That's weird. That'd be a great spot to have put it in.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't. I should be on the design team.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my deck list. Let me know what you would have put into Greensleeves. Like, how would you guys have built it? Let me hit. I'm pretty sure this is my button. There we go. Yeah. I keep moving my buttons around back and forth to another project. So, thank you guys so much for listening again. Like I said, we've got a bunch of new YouTube stuff coming out. Spent a lot of money on some new cameras to try test out, so it should be fun. At least I'll be able to get a video component back to what was going on. Brian's going to be doing some cool work with us on stuff coming up, so look forward to that. It's just been good. Me and Slothy are going to be doing some in-person games, probably some in-person episode recordings as well, which will be fun. Let me know again what you would have put in Greensleeves. Like, is my bad way of building where it's only no protection, only no thinking, only damage, or how would you guys build it? Thank you so much as always for listening, and I hope everyone has a great week.